Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're taking a look at the strength team over here on the Japanese side of the game, and taking it into a bit of Pirate Rumble or PvP, and showcasing what the newer units on JP can actually do. Now, before I continue, this is not the best strength team going around. There is a lot of different options for basically every color now, and every color sort of has their own strengths. I do still think that Quick is probably the best color in the game, closely followed by Psy and Int, and then maybe Strength. But Strength does have the potential to actually take down Psy. It does have the potential to take down Quick if you build the team right. And it does have the potential to take down Int, again, if you build the team right as well. But let's have a quick look at some of the units on this particular team. Now, we're not going to talk about Lore, and we're not going to talk about Ace, namely because they're already on Global. But let's take a quick look at Toki, one of the newer Kazuda legends that did release over here on the Japanese side of the game. So their Rumble ability at level 5 gives level 5 attack, level 5 speed, and level 3 defense up to strength characters, as well as giving level 5 defense down to dex. So very good at debuffing, very good at buffing strength, a very, very good unit nonetheless. I don't know what's going on with my connection here, so I do apologize about the sound. It's just bugging out, but let's see if I can fix that. I guess not. Another thing to note about this particular team is I don't actually have all these characters max leveled. I do have most of them max passive, but not all max level. The Toki special, though, at level 8 for me, is going to reduce silence on strength characters, reduce action bind for 18 seconds, reduce special cooldown by 13%. Oh, sorry, this is the Toki. As well as giving level 8 attack up to one crew member with the highest attack, and will also restore HP. But at max, it gives level 10, 15% special cooldown to your entire team, and 2 times recovery. So, very, very good at getting your specials. And that's basically the big reason why we want to have Toki here. The next unit we're going to talk about is Kid. So, Kid was one of the Super Type Legends, the Super Sugos, that did come out with the anniversary. Now, Kid's very, very good. Level 5 gives level 7 attack buff to strength units, which is kind of whatever. But as you can see, I've only got him level 8. But at level 10, he gives level 3 defense up to strength characters for 10 seconds. Does 1.5 times attack to in a medium forward range that will ignore defense to all enemies. So, very, very strong unit. A lot of damage and can give a lot of defense with his special as well. The final unit we're going to talk about is actually the new Vivi. And that's really the reason why I wanted to put this team together. I did already have this team built in the sense of the strength team without Vivi, but I really wanted to include her as she's one of the new units. Now, I do think the strength team is just sort of runs better if you're not using Vivi and if you're not using Toki, but I just wanted to showcase them today. So, at level 5, she gives 5 speed up to strength and level 5 special cooldown to strength units. At level 10 special, she gives 1.5 times attack to all enemies, 50% chance to silence all enemies in a large radial range for 5 seconds, and level 7 attack up to strength characters 11 seconds. So, as you guys can see, it's not exactly the best strength team going around. It doesn't exactly have a lot of defense, but it does have a lot of attack. And with Ace and Lore, we can actually get some HP, and we can actually do a lot of crazy things. So in today's video, I do have a couple of fights for you guys. Most of them are against the Psy variation, because I just found that to be the most fun to fight. Unfortunately, I didn't go up against Quick, because Quick just clapped me. And most Int teams would either stall out, or would just be so close that I just didn't have a chance to really record them. Like I said, you sort of want to build this team with like Whitebeard and PvP Sanji and Jack and some of those other units as well. But it can actually make it really, really nice. We are using Kaku, Cracker, and Sobblemask on the bench because I just want nukers. But with that said, let's dive in and let's check out the Strength Toki Vivi team. Alright, so the first fight of the video, we are taking on a Dex comp, and this is the particular team we're taking on. They are using Anniversary Lore, who's very, very strong on the Dex team, as well as using stuff like Magellan for like lots of like damage over time, and then they've got a lot of nuking in the back with Sobblemask and whatnot. They've also got Kid on the team and Rayleigh, which is very, very good for defense. And then they have quite a strong bench, but if they did have Zoro on this team, it'd be a little bit more scary. But I did want to just show off the strength team against some of the, well, this particular strength team against some of those more guaranteed wins. As I mentioned in the intro, this team isn't exactly like the creme de la creme when it comes to strength, but it's a lot of fun seeing the amount of attack you guys get, the amount of cooldown reduction you guys get, as well as being able to like special bind and output a lot of damage. This particular strength team just goes absolutely ape when it comes to versing Dex. There's not too many Dex teams that actually can just sort of keep up with the amount of damage output that this strength team has, but in saying that, there are a lot of other teams that have more damage output than this one and can actually just destroy you before you even get a chance, especially if you don't have Lore in the front. You have like no way of getting HP. And if you are using something like Cracker instead, You will get like a lot more attack and a lot more cooldown, but you just can't sort of tank like stuff like a Kainu if you are coming up against something like a Kainu. But nevertheless, we did manage to absolutely just decimate this Dex team. It was a lot of fun just coming up against Dex and just going absolutely wild. But we will see some better showings against the Psy variation later in the video. But like I said, besides like mirror matches, Dex and Psy, I wouldn't really take the gamble of going up against things like Int or even Quick. On to the next fight now. Alright, so the next fight we're coming up against the Halloween Law Slasher combination, and I gotta say, trying to find like decent teams over here on Japan is just so hard. The amount of times I just sit there hitting refresh is actually ridiculous. To try and even just find a team that's not super janky. There's so many like more point teams that I could have versed that were just like guaranteed W's. But I just wanted to try and find some teams that had better synergy, just to sort of show off what this particular team could do. And nevertheless, we are coming up against the OG Slashers. Not OG though, because they are using Halloween Law, but in my opinion, Halloween Law runs on this team very, very nicely. But I always like to include the Slashers in here somewhere, purely because on Global they just ran Riot for so damn long, and they are still a pretty good benchmark to see where teams sit nowadays, as they're not nowhere near the best teams anymore, but they'd still hold their own in the top 10, I would say. With the Halloween Law comp as well, they do have a lot of special blinds, but the beautiful thing about our team is we actually have Toki. Now, the reason I wanted to sort of find a Halloween Law or something that can special blind us was to try and see if we can get that Toki special to pop off and actually give us that utility that includes getting the special seal removal or the action bind removal. Now, I did try that with a quick team, and let's just say things didn't go too well. We got absolutely destroyed. There's not enough HP for this particular team to be coming up against strength. But like I said, you can definitely make it work with stuff like Kazuna Jack or Legend Jack. You've also got Whitebeard, V1 Whitebeard, as well as PvP Sanji. So it's definitely doable. But to have more fun with this particular team, I did go up against some weaker teams as well, not weaker teams, but like not those sort of be-all or end-all teams. We're going to move on to the next team now. Let's check out another fight. On to the next fight now. I did manage to find another strength team, and funny enough, they actually have Toki on the team, which is pretty cool. They are using Jack, which is a really good shout. He's very, very good at giving defense and HP, as well as having Ace for their damage output as well. So, let's see how this fight goes. They are using Snake Man and Bullet. Snake Man is just not a great option, so I do think this is probably one of like an older team. Or this guy sort of just doesn't really know what he's doing when it comes to strength. The Snake Man is just not that great of an option for strength. He never has been. Strength never really were anything when Snake Man was sort of relevant. And nowadays, unless you're using like Tank Man for the quick team, there's no real Luffy that sort of dominates in PvP. The Straw Hats, I think, are very, very good for the side team. I do really, really like that unit. I think that unit's really, really cool. But he does cop a lot of slack. But as you guys can see here, we are just sort of tearing through the enemy's HP pool. They do have a lot of their specials ready, and they do get a lot of healing from Toki as they are going to pop their Toki special off. Ideally, you kind of want your Ace to go first, and then you want your Toki to go after Ace. So Ace just does more damage when he's at lower HP, and he also does multiple attacks when he's at very, very low HP. So as you guys will see here, he's just getting that 2 times attack. Or actually, no, he got low HP because we did hit him with our Ace, but then we get Kid coming in, and Kid can just output so much damage that we can just easily take out basically his whole team except for Bullet. Bullet has so much defense and so much HP as he has that auto target ability that he can sort of just hang around and just sort of stall a match for not like an unrealistic amount of time, but he just sort of stalls it to the point where it just makes the match annoying. It's kind of like this point now, it's like, alright, well, we've already won, guys, like, can we just sort of wrap this up? As you can see, Vivi kills literally everything but Bullet. Bullet's still there with, like, max HP, and, like, all of our attacks are just doing absolutely nothing. Even with Ace's double special, we still can't kill Bullet. Like, for some reason, he just got so much goddamn HP that the man just won't die. But, I mean, he is Bullet for crying out loud. So, that was against another strength team. Worked very, very well, but like I said, their strength team is nothing like a top team, but it's still a lot of fun. Alright, and for the final teams of the video, we're taking on the Psy variation. Now, with the Psy variation, there is a lot of different variety, and this particular sort of variation, well, the Psy variation in particular, I did find to have the most success with this particular team. Obviously, with Quick just being just like the natural counter to strength, it wasn't exactly the smartest thing for me to go up against Quick, but I do think it is doable. You just need to sort of specially build the team. But I just wanted to sort of play around with Toki and Vivi. That was sort of the aim of this particular video, as well as showcasing Kid as well. So taking on Sai was actually really, really nice, as we could easily take down most Sai comps. There were some that sort of just took me out, but namely with the Straw Hats, actually. The Straw Hat Sai comp was actually quite tough to beat because of that heal. But nevertheless, like, I do imagine that this strength team can do a little bit better than what I am showcasing. I just really wanted to showcase Vivi and Toki in Rumble, as they are a lot of fun. Like, they are, that's the main thing. They are a lot of fun compared to most other teams. Like, the quick team's very, very good. The in team, in my opinion, is boring as batshit. Even though it is very, very strong, it's very, very good. But I just find it to be so damn boring that I'm just like, eh. And then, obviously, Dex is very tanky. It's very good for defense. And then Sai just being really, really fun too. Sai and Strength I've had the most fun with when it comes to the color variations. Quick is just ridiculously powerful, and it's a lot of fun too. But nevertheless, Strength, as you can see, with the AoE damage that Kid and Ace can provide, is very, very nice. And then all the nerfing that you get with the special of Vivi, all of the special blind and all that sort of stuff, it actually works quite nicely. Then you've got Law and Kaku for HP and a bit of defense, as well as Cracker for some cooldown as well. But I do imagine if you do have PvP Sanji, this team will work a little bit nicer. But Sober Mask is another really, really good shout. But that was against a Shanks Scopper build. Let's move on to another side team now. Alright, so another side comp now. We are versing Shanks and Shirashari this time. So they are still utilizing the Rebecca Toy Soldier. Now, the Rebecca Toy Soldier actually is a bit of a cock for this particular team. And I was using Law in the front. I do think Law works a little bit nicer in the front. But when I first started using this team, I did have Cracker. The big reason I had Cracker in the front was just because Law just works better as a nuker. But we were losing a lot of HP, which I did find to be a big issue when you are going up against some of those stronger teams. But like I said, this particular team is more like a bit of fun rather than like what is super, super strong. As I don't know if Vivi, and I think Toki's very, very good. Her passive's very, very nice. But without having stuff like Jack, not having, like, I think Kazuna Jack's actually pretty good too. He's another really, really good option for the strength team. But unfortunately for me, my Japan account isn't exactly where my global account is. And I just don't really have a lot of characters leveled up when it comes to Rumble, and I don't exactly have that many Rumble scrolls to just be throwing around. So I did want to more showcase the newer units that I don't have on Global, the ones that aren't out, obviously. So that's why these teams aren't exactly the be-all or end-all. But nevertheless, they were still a lot of fun to build, and they were still a lot of fun to run. I still do use this team quite a bit, actually, when I am doing my daily Rumble stuff. And it is still a lot of fun to actually see how it performs. So as you can see, we do get a lot of attack here. We do manage to out-damage the defense of the opponent, and we just take them all out before they even have a chance to get their bench in. Shirahoshi's going to get a big heal, going to get a lot of attack, get a lot of defense, but it doesn't really matter because at this point, it's 8 versus 3, and with 50 seconds left, there's not too many teams, 3-man teams, that can actually win against an 8-man team. Unless you're on Global and you're running that defensive Kaido build, which is just absolutely wild, but normally an 8 versus 3 scenario will always go in your favor. But that was another side team. Let's move on to the final side fight now. Alright, moving on to the final match now. We're coming up against another Shanks Scopper Enel build this time with Roger as well as Wano Law. This guy's bench is very, very strong. He is using Colgara Nolan with Otama and Sober Mask. Very, very strong bench for not only nuking but a lot of healing in the end game. But with the amount of damage that we can output with our Kid and our Ace, we should be in good stead to actually get through most of their defense, while letting Toki actually heal us up, giving us special cooldown as well, and allowing us to just get a little bit more specials popping off, rather than just the regular specials that sort of just go through the regular timer. But Vivi can do a lot of damage as well. It's another thing that Vivi has. I think she has like 1.7 times her attack as damage, or that might be the Straw Hats. I might be getting them confused, but she can do a lot of damage. But the big reason that we have her is for her special blinding as well as her passive. Her passive is really, really nice for this particular team. Toki's going to give us the special cooldown, which is great, but unfortunately most of our characters had their specials. But it did give our Vivi enough cooldown as well as Kid to get their specials off. Now we are going to have to tank this Roger special. Roger is still just an absolutely beast in all aspects of this game, to be honest, and rightfully so. We are still above the 50 seconds, so Shanks is only doing 1,000 damage, thank goodness. Otherwise that extra 2,000 would have definitely hurt. We do have Kid coming in now. Kid's just basically going to clean up some scraps, basically take out Enel. And then we've got Law with all his damage to do a nice chunky shot as well. Once we've done that, we're basically in good stead. They've got a lot of low HP, and they don't really have a way of healing back up unless they get Otama in. We are going to take, like I said, we are going to take a few shots here. We are going to lose a few units. But with the power of our bench, namely our Sobermask and Kaku, we can actually revive a fight. And if we manage to get Ace popping off with low HP, he can do some wild things like that and just absolutely turn a match on its head, take out most of the front teams, and then you just sort of need to rely on the bench from there. This guy is using Otama on the bench, and normally Otama's really good, but unfortunately for him, we sort of lost he lost most of his troops, so Otama coming in just wasn't that much help. But that's going to wrap up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt that like button for me. If you are new to the channel too, hit the big red subscribe button. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Lates!